Welcome to ModGolf Live. I am your host, Colin Weston, and welcome back. It's the third week in a row we've done ModGolf Live after taking a break for a couple of months here. I was traveling, doing some other things, had a fun little surgery, so taking care of some personal health stuff here, and but I'm feeling great. I'm back at it. I've got the energy, and my guest today has energy to spare, and really looking forward to this conversation with Jamie Taylor, who is the founder of 10K Golf. So as I always mentioned on ModGolf Live, one of the great things I love doing about this as an accompaniment to the ModGolf podcast is that it is live and interactive. And I see we've got a couple of people jumped on already. And this is the whole thing here. When I bring Jamie on, I want you to ask some questions here. And I've already put in chat here, hey, welcome to the show here. Just let us know your name and where you're watching from today. We love to hear. We get people from all over the world. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada, just north of Seattle, and on the West Coast. And I know we got Jamie joining us from back east. She is in Orlando, Florida today. And we've had people join us, like I said, from Europe, from Asia, Australia, all over the world here. So just let us know. And as I mentioned, this is a live and interactive show. We love the energy, keep it fun and informative. And with Jamie that I'm going to bring on here in a second. So as I said, if you have a question, don't be shy. Put it in chat. I'll give you part of your 10 minutes of fame here. And I guess it's actually your 15 minutes of fame if we're going to quote Andy Warhol properly here. And I promise to bring that up on screen. All right. So as we get going here, since it's Monday morning here for me in Vancouver, not Monday morning anymore for Jamie on the East Coast. It is lunchtime here. So if you grab your lunch and join us, that's amazing. But I do my usual thing here, and that is my Monday morning musings. And myself in the golf industry, recreational golfer, not a very strong golfer, but that's okay. I love to play the game, and I love the community around it. Just want to ask you this question. Perhaps you can put this, maybe we'll do a poll later on. And that is, yesterday it finished up with men's professional golf, the PGA Tour, with the BMW Championships, which was like the semifinals for their FedEx Cup. I really didn't watch much of that, even though I love playing golf. I'm just curious, did any of you out there watch it? Do you find that interesting? Even the format, they've tried to tweak it over the years here. Scotty Scheffler won again. I said, do you find that interesting? Or do you prefer watching the LPGA Tour, which, little spoiler alert, not trying to influence your decision on this, I prefer watching the LPGA Tour much more than the men's tour. I just find it much more relatable, just as far as how far they hit the ball. And I think they use strategy around the course way more than the men do, the way the courses are set up. So love to hear your comments on that. The other thing I was going to mention too, for the last month or so, I've been doing a fun thing on YouTube and Instagram. We're calling it the Positivity Project. 100 days, not consecutive, because that would be I think for me, I would have already lost that. I would have broken that. So doing 100 days of the Positivity Project. So something every single day, whether it's small, something that's big, that I put out there, just as far as what made me smile, and then asking everyone out there, what makes you smile? And we're getting a lot of feedback on this. There's so much going on in the world, just heavy stuff that it's nice to just reflect and remember, you know what, life is pretty awesome. And even though we all have our struggles and, sometimes things aren't so easy, but it could be as simple as having a coffee, or in this case, having a wonderful guest on the show today. And the one thing that made me smile yesterday after 9 weeks post-surgery is the first time I played a full round of golf. Didn't necessarily play all that well, but part of my community there with the weekend men's group that I play at a course here at the University Golf Club in Vancouver, that it just got me back out there with the guys that I've spotted for the last 5 or 6 years here with this club. And this is a nice segue when I bring Jamie on here with what she's doing to create community and empower women through golf. So with that, now it's the time. Let me bring her on screen here, and there we go. Jamie Taylor, welcome to ModGolf Live.
Hi, Colin. How's it going?
It's going just great. Going great. Thank you for joining us today here. So, hey, Jamie, I want to start here with saying how we met and how you've put yourself out there as an entrepreneur and having the courage to do it, which is hard. It's scary to do this, but you put out there on LinkedIn, and that's where I met. And I'm going to pull this up on screen here. First of all, it's going to be right between us here. And here, let's see if I can get you and I on the side screens here. You can see it's just a little bit there, but here you are pitching in Orlando, and you can even see my comment. I saw this like, hey, please join me on ModGolf. I love what you're doing here. So here, even though we can't see ourselves too much on the screen here, this is only a couple of weeks ago. So tell us about this experience, and this can also fold in with you letting us know what you're doing with 10K Golf, which I know you're about to launch in a couple of weeks' time here, which is super exciting. So tell us about 10K Golf and this pitch challenge that you participated in Orlando a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks for the invitation, because it really took place really fast. Like you said, you put the comment in, and then here we are almost a week later doing this interview. So yeah, 10K Golf is an app that I'm developing to help people have a clear pathway to progress, whether it's breaking 100, breaking 90, breaking 80. And just to give you a little bit of my background, I've been a golf lifer, if you will. Started at the age of 7 in Cleveland, Ohio, which is where I'm originally from, with my family. And then I went on to play my first golf tournament at the age of 9, and I won. So that got me addicted really fast. And then I went on to play a college golf. I played at Virginia University in Erie, Pennsylvania on a full ride scholarship at a D2 school. And then I became one of 30 Black LPGA Class A professionals in history. And that journey from starting out at age 7 to becoming a professional was really a journey of trial and error. You know, my parents were not competitive junior golfers or competitive golfers at all. They didn't know how to navigate that. And then my coaches that I had, they also had not played at a competitive level. So I really was, just really motivated, I guess, if you will, to kind of excel, because I'm a competitive person naturally. But just understanding, we all know about par if you're a golfer, right? We know that when you go on a golf course, the goal is to shoot par. But what we don't understand, or at least I didn't for sure, is there's levels, right? You can't just go from never playing golf to shooting par in a week or two, right?
Yes.
You have to have milestones. And so that's what this app does. It provides the milestones and helps you navigate how to get to those milestones while still getting coaching, because I think that's very important to have a coach, in-person coach. But there's, when you're not with your coach, when you're practicing in between lessons, doing it in an effective way is ultimately what my app is providing, giving people the exact exercises that they should be working on and doing it in a holistic way, because people, I mainly worked around my technique all the time, going to the driving range, short game, so forth, putting, chipping, but I didn't know about fitness. I didn't know about the mental game part of things and how to train my mind and how to think through some challenges. I knew about rules and etiquette, but you learn that also through trial and error. When somebody
Yes.
basically penalized, and it's like, oh, no, I won't do that again. So just learning all those things and the terminology, there's just so much. And I wanted to put that all in the app and make it digestible for people so that they could understand how to go step by step and make it so that it's not such a mysterious, intimidating sport. Because I think for a lot of us, it can be to the point where you may not even pursue it if you don't have proper guidance.
Yes. Yeah. Well, thanks for that overview. Yeah. I'm curious to learn when you decided that aha moment to go pedal to the metal and saying, yes, I am going to put a lot of energy and resources into creating 10K Golf, because yourself as an entrepreneur, my background's in architecture, so I use this architectural metaphor. It's like having a green grass lot with nothing on it. It's like we can build anything we want, but sometimes you're paralyzed with what you should do, where you should put that energy in. And sometimes I see entrepreneurs then build something like tucked up way in the corner, away from everything else, when you've got this big site and you can build as much as you want, where you want. So using that analogy or that metaphor, what did you decide to build on your green grass piece of the site here, and make those decisions of what 10K Golf should be coming out of the gate with your minimum viable product, as we're going to call it here, as you're in beta testing now and you're going to launch in a few weeks, as we mentioned here. So what type of research did you get, or feedback or validation through women that you knew and users as testing of what to put into 10K golf, and even more so, what not to include?
Well, the journey of the app started before I even knew the app was going to be a thing. So I
Mm,
created what I call the golfprolikeme.com, which is a directory online where people could find golf pros that are from marginalized groups, so women, people of color. And that was because when I was teaching full time at a golf course from 2010 to actually 2008, I think it was, till roughly 2015. When I left the course, everybody's like, well, where can I find a golf pro like you? You know, and I know for some that meant woman, person of color, or both. And so in Google searching, I couldn't find even my own website at the time. And I'm not a tech savvy person, or at least I wasn't for sure as much tech savvy as I am now. So that started that website so that people could just find women and people of color because it's not so easy to find. And so as that grew, I started that in 2020, and that grew, and people were saying, oh, this is really helpful. I thought, how can I provide more information that people aren't getting access to? And I read a fellow LPGA professional, Anita Castillo, did a paper, for a master professional. It's kind of like a PhD in LPGA golf.
okay.
And it was about the barriers of entry to golf for people who are persons of color, and why there aren't as many people of color, especially Black people, in the golf industry playing at a tour level. And so in reading that, it also gave me some insight to some of the things that I had experienced and I hadn't known that people experienced. So I was like, how can we get all of this information in one place? And that, of course, apps is something I'm not foreign to. We always use them every day. I've created an app before with the LPGA Foundation for the girls golf program. So I was familiar with apps, and I thought this is the best way to reach the masses. And so that's how the 10K golf app idea started, and that was in 2023. And then as far as creating the delivery of it, I run a nonprofit in Cleveland, Ohio called Greater
Mm,
Cleveland Junior Golf. I've been doing that since 2020. And so I had access to all of these youth and their parents that I could see firsthand, what their challenges were. And similar to what my parents went through in regards to how to navigate getting their junior golfers to play
right.
well enough to get to the high school team, well enough to play college golf. And I thought we're all having the same struggle. And even though I could give them one-on-one guidance, again, how do I get to the masses? How do I give everybody the same information and make sure they all can follow a similar program? So this app was something that I initially created with them in mind. But as I did the testing, I noticed more the mothers were the ones that took the advantage of the testing because they were
Mm,
completely feeling uncomfortable with the navigating golf. And that led me to understand that women are really the ones that are craving this type of content. Not that men won't use it, but women are more willing to say, I don't know what I'm doing. Help me understand this. Like, they'll verbalize that, and they are very open to whatever solutions that are provided, and they like the structure. So working with them and working with women golfers in general, because there's a lot of women golf groups out there, I'm seeing the same problem. And as I'm testing out these solutions with them, I'm getting the feedback that this is what they need and what they want. So that is how the app came about for me.
got it. Got it. So we talked about, because I asked you this question when we spoke a couple of days ago. It's like, well, 10K, what is this? Is this a running reference? And what is this? And you said, no. This is with Malcolm Gladwell, and in his book Outliers, where he talks about 10,000 hours to master something here, and with the program with deliberate practice, quality of time, and how it applies universally, and obviously to golf here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, as far as how the name applies to your strategy and methodology to have women upskill in golf one step at a time, as you mentioned here. You're not going to be a scratch golfer right out of the gate. I'm still a struggling 16 handicapper, knowing that my best golf is still in front of me here, which is encouraging. At least I
Yeah.
tell myself that.
Yeah.
So tell us about that, as far as the reference with Malcolm Gladwell and the 10,000 hours.
Well, I had read his book several years ago, and that book, the whole 10,000 hours kind of resonates with you once you read that book. But also in researching for the development of this app, I reached out to a ton of junior competitive, highly competitive elite juniors, as well as tour professionals that are in my network. And I just asked them, I said, how many hours on average do you work on your game? Not just the technical part, but every aspect. What do you do? And they ranged, between 10 to 20 hours minimum a week. So I took that information and I said, okay, what would an average person be able to manage, if they had to work on all aspects? So not just going to the golf course every day or anything like that, but just, like I said, things they can do at home, working on learning the game knowledge, the fitness piece, the mental parts. And I thought 10 hours was a healthy amount of time if you had to break it down throughout the week to work on those areas. And so, between the 10 hours a week and the 10,000 hours, I also will say, as working with juniors, I thought to achieve a 10,000 hour goal, if they started, let's say, at the age of 8, by the time they get to college age or go to college, they will have possibly acquired 10,000 hours if they keep on that routine. And that would get them to playing elite level golf. So that was also the mindset I had when I was initially coming up with the name. So the reality is the getting people to put in the time is really the key to this app, because to stay motivated, I'm a person, I get distracted. I got a million things I want to do and work and so forth. So I wanted this app to be a motivator for people to be like, okay, I'm not going to my coach until maybe next week or next month, but here's stuff I can do in between that's going to keep me progressing so that when I go back to them the next time, I'm not starting back, at ground zero, where I was last. And that's really what the 10,000 hours came from.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I want to switch gears a little bit here and talk about yourself as a founder and as far as the partnership. So the people you had to bring in, because we're not good at everything. Obviously, your strengths are as a LPGA master teaching professional or Class A teaching professional, I should say. And you said you had a little bit of experience here with creating an app previously, obviously falling back on your community to test what you're doing. So you've got those pieces in place, but you're not a tech founder like myself. I don't have a pure technical background. So my question is for people out there that are watching that have some ideas, but maybe they stop themselves because they think, oh, well, I don't know how to make an app, or I can't code. So tell us about that. It's like, how did you get this built? Did you do most of it yourself, or did you bring in friends? Or tell us about that journey.
So when I started out with the concept, I just initially reached out to a UI UX designer. So that means user interface, user experience designer, just to get the visual of what I wanted. So I was able to explain to them what my goals were for this app, what my intentions were, and kind of reference other apps that I felt kind of mimicked what I intended the app to be. And so I started out with a designer I got for cheap online somewhere and just had them create the visual for me. And once I had that visual, then I was able to take that to a developer, someone who could code. Fortunately, I have some developer friends in my network, and I was able to say, okay, can you code this, or is it designed in a way that's easy to code? And so once we got the file, they call it Figma, as a software people use when they're creating apps. I use that to, one, create and mimic what the app would look like. And so I use that part of my testing phase to validate the concept, but then also to take to a developer to code. And that's pretty much how it worked out. I mean, there's a lot of places to find developers, and I'll be honest with you, finding a loyal developer, it can be tough because there's so many of them out there. But I have a great CTO who is a senior developer, and he kind of helps me vet the developers that I brought on board, and they were able to, make the app come to life. And that's really the process that I took. So for someone who isn't a tech founder, I would say, obviously, you can go on some of these contractor websites, I don't want to advertise for people, but, Fiverr.com or something, find a UX UI designer to bring your idea to reality. And then there's a lot of programs out there through Google, AWS, and so forth, where you can find developers to help you. Obviously, there's money involved, so you got to be ready for that part as well.
Right.
It is possible.
There we go. Well, we've been talking about your app, and you did send me a video really just a teaser here. I'm going to pull this up. Hopefully we can get it between us here. And let's just scroll back right to the beginning here. Okay, we'll run through it a couple times. Why don't you talk us through it?
Yeah, so the 10K Golf app, this is the home page right here. I liken it to a fitness app. And the idea is you're just tracking your hours. So it's giving you suggested things to do for every 10 hours. This screen that just hopped up is your goals. So every month you have outcomes that you need to achieve in the 4 areas. That is fitness, golf technical skills, golf mental game, as well as the golf knowledge. And so there's a suggested amount of time that you should put into it on a weekly basis. And the goal is by the end of the month, you should be able to achieve those outcomes. Now, to get those outcomes, you have exercises built into the app. Some are videos, most are videos, and they tell you what equipment you need, and they allow you to measure your success. So let's just say you want to make X amount of putts from a certain distance out of 8 tries. You can measure that in the app. And then you also can time yourself. So as you're practicing, you're calculating your time so that you can basically see how much time you're putting in. And that's important because when you go to your coaches and they say, like, what have you done since I last saw you? You can just show them the app and be like, here, this is what I've been doing. And you don't have to necessarily remember everything that you did. But the reality is they can see that you're working really hard and diligently on your game. And then the coach, as you can see in this, we have a chat feature. You can communicate with your coach on the app throughout and between lessons so that they can also provide you some content, as well as you can chat with other golfers who may be in the same journey as you. And for women, that's important because a lot of times women are introduced to golf through a male figure in their life, typically. So they're always craving to find other women that they can learn with, play with, and just socialize with, because we like to socialize. We don't want to just play. We want to chit chat and, giggle and do all the things we do as women. So this will allow you to find a community as well that can go on the journey with you.
Nice. And that community building piece, I did want to dig into that more because I've had the honor of speaking to a lot of amazing women like yourself here that are creating community across the United States and even up here in Canada. And there seems to be this common recurring thread that ties it all together. And that is making everyone feel welcoming and having fun and not taking it seriously, but also not taking it too seriously, and making sure that golf, yes, is the focal point, but there's so much more as far as those experiential touch points when you get together in person or to build community virtually like you're doing here. So I want to talk about some partnerships here because you did mention, and we've had our friends with LEGS, the Ladies Executive Golf Society, and Women on Course, and a few others. So it sounds like you are reaching out to realizing that that old adage that a rising tide lifts all boats here, that you're not competing, you're complementing each other here and collaborating. So talk about that as you're getting going here, some of those partnerships that you're looking so you can accelerate yourself, so you're not just starting from zero and trying to onboard all these potential users, how you're tapping into these other communities that are already built, that you're providing something they don't have. So 1 + 1 = 3 in these cases. So let's talk about those with the partnerships that you got going on.
Yes, you said it perfectly, Colin. This app is to complement what's out there and not to replace. I don't want to replace anybody's coach. I don't want to replace anybody's, group. The idea is to help them elevate the members of their group and provide them additional resources that can help them improve so that they feel more confident every time they come back to play with the group. So these women's groups that you mentioned, Ladies Executive Golf Association, Women on Course, even LPGA Amateurs. I'm fortunate enough, because I've been working in the industry for over 25 years, to have some great contacts, and I've been in conversations with them about implementing this app once it comes out, because I know that one of the common things I've heard from all sorts of women's groups, whether they're big or small, is that they're getting influxed by women. I mean, women's golf is growing. It's the second fastest growing market in the golf industry. I think 43% or 50% since 2020 of growth in women's golf. And so they're getting an influx of women, and these women, they come with the cute outfits, they come with a brand new set of clubs, but they have never had a real golf lesson to really help them understand how to navigate the golf course. And most of these groups are designed for women to play and socialize, not so much to learn the game. So there's that missing piece. And that's what the app will provide. It's giving those women something to help them work on their game and understand etiquette, rules, and things of that nature, so that they're not coming there and, I won't say making a fool of themselves, but, feeling embarrassed or feeling shy.
Right.
Because, a lot of times it can be intimidating. It is intimidating when you're just learning golf and you don't know what to do and how to navigate. So that's the intent, is that I want to help provide these organizations the app so that their members can now have something to rely on to help them progress.
Got it. So let's talk about the future. I guess the next few weeks are going to be very exciting for you. Maybe a little bit scary because you don't know where things are going to go. So when is the launch date for the app for 10K Golf?
So I'll say on the safe side, September 30th. And I only say that because I want to give myself some wiggle room, but for sure we're planning to get it out in September. And the idea is, obviously, it's still going to be evolving even once it comes out. So I don't want people to think that what comes out September 30th is the final. It's going to be pieces. But the main things, we're going to have the crucial pieces in the app that's going to help people start progressing on that 6-month path and that journey. And then we'll just keep adding and adding and adding. Because when you are developing an app, you have to actually develop it not in its full capacity. I don't know if people know this, but in order for it to stay up in the App Store and also for it to, continually kind of show up, kind of like a Google search, right, to stay at the top of the search, you have to keep creating new versions and updates. And so that's an intentional thing. It's not a thing of like, oh, we just didn't feel like completing the app, but we always want to add some other features and grow it. So I'm excited for that because, like you said, this has been, it hasn't been a super long time, but for me, all the work and sweat and blood and tears, it's been a while, and I'm excited to finally have something out there.
You're putting in your 10,000 hours of entrepreneurship. I see. You're definitely doing that. It's all coming full circle here. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, it also sounds like you must have read Eric Ries's book, The Lean Startup, because you're talking about minimum viable product. You're not waiting until it's perfect, because there is no perfect. You just have to put it out there with the features and benefits that you've researched and had that customer validation or user validation that this is what people want. But you make those assumptions. And I know myself as a founder too, we think, oh, people will love this thing. And it turns out, no, they like that thing over there. They like this thing here rather than that. And so you need to learn in that feedback loop and very quickly iterate. So it sounds like you're doing that, putting out there the core features, not waiting. No, we need to add this and add this. Put it out there, start to get some feedback, start to get some traction, and let the good things happen, and pivot, or at least kind of course correct, I guess we could better to say than pivot, as you go here in the rest of 2025.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, it helps that I had the directory for the golf pros, because that's a feature that I'm going to be able to add to the app automatically. Everybody doesn't have a coach that they can find, or some women specifically are looking for female coaches. So to have that feature to add as part of the app is a big thing too, because I don't want people to be discouraged from getting the app because they don't have a coach yet. I want them to feel like they can download it and also find a coach through the app as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you work with charities and nonprofits, but this is not a nonprofit. This is a for-profit. So how did you work? Because it's always tricky. Is like, how did you work the pricing model? And so talk about that, just as far as the kind of the revenue streams and how you see to build this as a business, especially when you onboard people. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that, what your intention on is to make this a sustainable and financially profitable business. Yeah,
so it'll be a subscription model. You'll have the options to do month to month, annual, and so forth. So that way you can always, back out when you don't need to use it, or if you're not golfing at the time, you can always come back to it. And then I will also be bringing in, I have a lot of connections in the industry with a lot of the golf companies, as well as smaller mom and pop companies that are advertising, clothing in the golf industry, shoes, all types of things. So I really want, again, this would be the go-to resource for people to find these companies and find what's out there for products, especially for women, because there's quite a few. But again, people don't know necessarily if they're just getting into the game where to find these things. So I want to be able to give them options of clothing and things they can buy at different price points. And as it grows, I may be adding on some, ways for them to interact with really high level coaches and have some, things that are bigger than just the app, but kind of situations like these where they can talk to some of the top tier coaches out there, people that they probably could never interact with unless they just happen to run into them at a tour event or something, to hear their insights and things of that nature, because I think the access is the key to this app. It's giving them access to those people and getting that information and just feeling like they're part of the community as a whole.
Love this. Love this. So to finish up here, let me just pull up over here. So, hey, if people want to learn more about all the good things that Jamie is talking about here, you can go to their website, nice and simple, 10kgolf.com. I'm assuming not quite yet. People can't even download a beta yet. So when you do launch, are people able to sign up so they can actually get the notification then?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things you can do. You can go to the website. We do have a place on the website for you to sign up if you're waiting on the app. Also, I do have funding that I'm fundraising for the app. So if you choose to invest, we're on wefunder.com. So you can go there and find 10K Golf on that website, as well as if you want to go to our YouTube page, we have a YouTube channel, 10K Golf 24. I hate that I had to add the 24, but 10K Golf is taken. And that way you can find videos of just information that I share with people, called Know Before You Go series. So just information that people want to know. I post videos on there as well. So you can follow me on those. And then I'm on all social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Reddit, which I'm new to Reddit. Those are my social media channels.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And I did just off screen here, pull up. Let's see if I can pull this up here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on. I'm going to add to stage here. See, I'm not only the host, but I'm the executive producer, pushing the buttons and twisting the knobs and pulling the levers here. Obviously, sometimes doing it better than others. But as we finish up here, let me pull up your website for 10K Golf. And I believe there it is. Okay. So there you go. Like, as you would mention, just to reinforce this, yeah, you can go to the website, 10kgolf.com, and start your journey there.
Yes. And feel free to contact us. We have our email on the website. If you have any questions about the app, with partnerships, I'm open to that as well. But I'm excited to get this going.
Love it. Love it. Well, that's the beauty of social media sometimes, and with LinkedIn, the fact that I saw what you were doing there. I know you and I met briefly a couple of years ago at the PGA show, and at that time it's like, yeah, I'd love to have you on. And it's like, at that time it's like, well, what are we going to talk about? So it's funny and interesting how the planets align here, and now was the time with what you're launching here with 10K Golf, Jamie. So with that, I want to thank you so much for joining us on ModGolf Live. And we had a couple of people joining us today. They were a little bit shy, not asking questions. Come on, folks, you got to ask some questions here. Come on, we're not mean.
I just love that they're here. Just spread the word. I feel like the more I can get people. You asked me earlier about the video, and I was there pitching. So spreading the word is the goal right now. So you're being really helpful to have me on your channel and share this with your audience. I appreciate that, Colin.
It is my pleasure. And anybody watching afterwards, because we do promote this, so we get lots of people watching afterwards as compared to the few that love to join us when we're live here. But you can see on the bottom, it's been scrolling for a while there. Hey, if you enjoy the conversations and the people like Jamie that I have the opportunity to give a platform to and shine a light on here and talk about all the great things they're doing, why don't you show us a little bit of love here? Subscribe to the ModGolf YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up. Add a comment here. That all helps us, because the more we can grow here, then the more ability I have to keep telling these, or at least giving the platform to share the stories like Jamie's. So with that, Jamie Taylor, founder of 10K Golf and 10K Sports. It's a pleasure to see you again. Hopefully I see you in person at the PGA show in Orlando in January. Hopefully you'll be there. I definitely will. Love to see you in person there.
Yeah.
And so again, everybody, thanks for joining us on ModGolf Live. And Jamie, thank you again for sharing all the good things that you're doing.
Thank you, Colin.